players of the world, but since EDG and he kind of left that team, he started building his own. This year, he had a fantastic spring split. He had like a 17 KDA on Lee Sin, became more of a gank-heavy jungler, and really evolved his game. So I like what he's saying. A lot of, I guess, people were against him, and he has done a better job of making a name for himself as Clearlove.
Tabe, you've had the opportunity to play against him, you know, and have your career be alongside of his. What is your opinion of him as a player and his strengths and weaknesses?
I've been playing against Clearlove for a lot of years, just 2 years, like S2 and S3. And I think he is a really strong jungler, and I even think that he is one of the best jungler all over, better than some of the Korean junglers. But I have a thing I want to tell him that because in this meta now, you can't simply carry yourself by playing jungle. So maybe you have to choose to help a bit more on Amazing J.
Well, that's a great way for us to get into this next game, as we did see EDG fall to SKT earlier. They need to bounce back and pick up a very much expected win here against the Bangkok Titans in our next game. But part of the way they're going to have to do that is by setting Amazing J up for success in the top lane. I think starting in Champion Select.
I feel like the biggest issue for me with EDG is that there's, like, the way they pick and ban is either they cover up the screen, they don't look at what the enemy's picking. In the game against SK Telecom, they last pick the Twisted Fate, which is fine. I like it into the Rise because the Rise is going to run TP and have no cleanse, which is fine. But then again, if you take a look at SK Telecom's team composition, it has no ways of engaging consistently. So if they actually picked the Pope champion in the last rotation, they would have had like better odds in that game. So overall, EDG, I feel like their mentality is very cocky, and I feel like they need to change that into the tournament.
They definitely are a cocky team. I will dispute the big ban phase thing, and it's off one game, and everyone remembers it. MSI Game 5, they completely destroyed them in the final. So what you have to say is, are they showing their whole hand? I'm not going with the sandbagging mentality, so don't quote me on that one, but this is group stages. They can get through its first or second. SKT right now aren't showing a lot. They beat them twice with pretty much the exact same composition. So EDG, sure, they've been outclassed in these games, definitely playing worse, but do you want to show everything against SKT, a team that's probably going to beat you, even if you do get the flawless big ban?
So in the past they've shown innovation. So far this tournament
they have not.
Yeah. The question is whether or not they felt pressured to do so.
And I think the biggest thing is, can they play on the Rift right now? Because you throw pick ban phase out the window as soon as you play that badly. They need to help their top laner.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our pregame here. It's time to load onto the Rift, so let's head over to the casters to see how this game plays out.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm so excited to get into this game as well. Of course, it is a general trend with just Atlas as usual, but EDG versus Bangkok Titans. Yeah. Two teams that are known to definitely butt horns quite a lot, and I'm excited to see whether Moss is going to get that thresh and whether this EDG lineup is going to give Garen to Amazing J.
Oh, that's true, actually.
I just want to see it again.
I mean, the thing is, this is a game where I feel like Edward Gaming may try to style a little bit here. They certainly have to win. There is still, of course, the chance they get upset, they lose a game to H2K, and they drop out of Worlds. That's a slim possibility. But the thing is, I mean, this is the rematch of the fastest game we've had at Worlds so far. This was a 20-minute surrender when they met last week. So whether Edward Gaming wants to beat their own record, BKT gets enraged and like gets overpowered, but it's going to be a game.
Traditionally, when EDG faces off against much weaker teams, especially like wildcard teams, for example, they do something different than other top tier teams do, sort of like slow dismantling them. They just go ham, outplay them everywhere. Yeah. I would like to see EDG actually go for the other approach, which is slowly dismantling them, because that is something they'll need against H2K later on, and especially that was something they lost the game off against SKT. They did the wrong map moves. EDG can do likely anything and they can still come back from the game, but I would like them to play a solid early game, smart jungle pathing from Clearlove, communication as to where he's going to end up, play around the strong lanes, snowball them, and take that approach. Style 1v1 outplays, you know, fancy kills, highlight reels, and the like.
I think that's actually really important as well, because Clearlove did struggle against SKT, looked like he didn't quite know where to be on the map, and we know that 007X for the Bangkok Titans is definitely a barometer for this team, a guy that really is able to get things going on. But we've got all of the bans through, guys. Kalista, Twisted Fate, and Rek'Sai removed by the Bangkok Titans. And Mordekaiser, Gangplank, pretty standard, you could have to say.
Yep.
On the red side, and Elise being taken away as well.
Right here are Lulu, of course. Yes, we saw Warlock play just last game.
Darius is up as well.
And Darius, exactly. Those are the two that you really kind of are looking at here. Amazing J could get his fourth Darius game in 5 games at Worlds, because I feel like BKT would be happy to play Lulu again, because I think it fits Warlock quite well.
Yeah, it is going to be the Lulu locked in one more time. Theoretically, the Bangkok Titans could just go for exactly the same team comp all over again. We'll see whether EDG have anything to say about it. Well, of course, it's a fantastic comp. It didn't necessarily play all that well. That being said, we now have a different top lane matchup, you have to say. And if Amazing J plays similarly to how he played against Maren, we may see that, you know, Warlock may have a better time up there.
Interesting that they don't actually pick up Kalista early here. So they would have been picked up here. And this is something we saw a lot on 5.14, especially from EDG too. Just early Braum, early Gragas, don't give much away. Rex has out, so Release is out too. So you have a top tier in air core jungler, you have a solid support that fits into a lot of compositions, and you already have like your teamfight tank part down, so you can pick whatever you want next to it.
People hovering with Fiora. He's done quite a bit.
It's the second G Fiora hover we've seen right now.
The Fiora.
Thanks, appreciate that. 007X right now, they are 0-4. Believe that can improve at some point soon. Bangkok Titans hoping to turn things around. The Gragas stick is stolen away though. Edward Gaming is that last game. I know Midfior is actually quite strong. It's a champion set. I don't think you'd want to blind pick it with the low priority on playing this champion. You don't have to pick it early on either. BKT actually might change things around and play instead around Lloyd.
That's interesting.
That's how
very
BKT
interesting.
it's how BKT played before G4 joined the lineup here. So if they can make Jugger Jigs, this could be a good one.
I mean, you can even make Jugger Darius. A lot of his weaknesses get solved by a Lulu position. Just speeding him up, getting to the target is the hardest part of playing Darius overall. Blowing him up is easy once you get close. So Lulu can get you close, get you enough, can make you even stronger overall. And that in itself can be enough to free up space for Lloyd to operate. And EDG obviously have a couple of counter picks lined up because they already know where the solos are going to go. Unless this is a Lulu support flex pick, we have yet to see that at Worlds.
Well, Bonnie's going to lock away the Yasuo here. Dev still thinking that Twitch, and he was hovering the tower. Just gets
I love Dev's switch overall.
That's
See,
fantastic.
because EDG have this tendency to play well with Fog of War and then using Pickles to their advantage. And
Amazing J.
so many plays possible. We'll see if it comes out though.
So it's either Amazing J and kind of picking himself as Yasuo versus Darius up in the top lane, or he's in the top lane Echo come out, and this is going to be an interesting one. I mean, Echo has plenty of tools to outplay what Darius does, right? A targeted blink that puts you guaranteed on top of your opponent, so you can outplay the Darius ult and things like that. So AB Echo, I do like seeing, and we'll see if that's what comes out here from Amazing J.
It would be very interesting. One thing that I want to see out of Bangkok Titans is just to put the Darius on G4. I just wouldn't. I don't want to see G4 champion. He's an assassin type player, type champion, something that can't run around and just kill people. Lulu isn't that champion, but Darius, theoretically.
A lot of these top lane champions with small gap closers operate decently in mid lanes. This is such a short lane and you can still gap close out. Darius has none whatsoever. He's incredibly slow. If he gets slowed down once in a million, especially 2v1, it's incredibly hard to get out of those fights. So, no, G4 playing it, while it may look funny or look fun, it can backfire incredibly hard.
Alright, well, Bangkok Titans essentially picking the League of Legends version of a 6 pool here. You can Whimsy or Rengar kind of start things out as fast as possible. But this is very early game, very rush focus. You still have Jinx for cleanup at the very end, but they're going to bash their heads on the opposing team at record speeds.
So EDG now trying to work out what they want to play. AD carry position. Lucian could be an option here, but I do like what the Bangkok Titans are bringing to some of those retro.
Alright, looks like, is that, I believe, the first Lucian of Worlds? I don't remember if we got it played earlier.
I believe
That may be a bad fact checker. I know we've had another Rengar already, so nothing too new for Bangkok
I mean,
Titans.
Mountain didn't even show up that game. One gank and he stopped playing.
Yeah, he did get a first play right away. But either way, the comps are locked in here. Bangkok Titans playing something a little bit different, very aggressive, engaging with their rank as you wanted. Moss finally got that threshold. Playmaking is here, but Edward Gaming have a lot of very good laners and just a lot of damage to competition with 2 tanks in front.
yeah, so much damage. I also really love the duo lane of Lucian Braum.
Oh,
I think
super
you can proc capacity so easily with the Light Slinger.
We just
I mean,
double check.
like-
It is the first.
All right. Bring it out here at the World Championship. Edward Gaming just hoping to not get spoiled here. We heard H2K talk about this last time as well. They're looking forward to their matchup against Edward Gaming as well. Just not screw up against BKT. They closed the game out pretty well. Edward Gaming against these guys last week had a 20-minute surrender for it. They had like a 17-minute inhibitor kill. EDG, after we see them play a very slow and intelligent and measured game to prove they can do it. We'll see which Edward Gaming shows up here. You guys at home, as always, please be part of this on Twitter. Tweet at LoLeSports. Use the hashtag BKTWin or the hashtag EDGWin. And let us know who is going to go. My opinion is probably Edward Gaming here, but this is the World Championship of upsets.
Yeah, we are about to hop onto Summoner's Rift, ladies and gentlemen. As Edward Gaming looking to try and pick up another victory after what was a difficult defeat against SKT. The Bangkok Titans will try and grab some revenge from every other game here at Worlds. And can they do a 007X on the Angry Kitty in the jungle? Warlock did eventually play Darius in the top lane and didn't get my wish.
The Titans here again with a clear identity. Finds aggressive play from Warlock and back to G4 just to make it very smooth. It's going to go aggressive in the fight, free up the space for Lloyd and get the resets. If they get it somehow, that's Edward Gaming. EDG's lack of range here could get really rough.
Certainly could. Do have a bit of a defensive second here for the Bangkok Titans thus far as Mako trying to find Lloyd. Get into the box, the flash, but the stun comes down. Are they going to be able to do it? Oh my goodness, I felt if Deft had to walk forward, they may have had a chance, but no. Backs away, doesn't want to give too much of it.
Lloyd actually flashed the wrong direction. He flashed into range of Deft's auto attack, but his was going to hit him. Lucian has low movement speed. Mako, he was still down for 2 more seconds. Flash in a straight line, and you're safe there, Lloyd. Nearly getting away from you two, and that is a bad omen.
I'm really surprised that Mako didn't blow the Ignite to go for the kill there. Level 1 Ignite
even through the Ignite, heal basically cancels out Ignite. It'd be a trade.
Look at how he gets countered.
You can debate
Ignite
whether
does
they connect the stun anyways. At any point, they can still counteract the heal later on. Just a lot of aggression up potentially possible here from Deft and Mako because the matchup will end up being 2v2 in the top lane. Again, this time opens up the possibility for Mako to Q flash aggressively, Rom to Q flash by 2 stacks in synergy with Deft on level 2. Another gunslinger shot instant stun. If they talk about Lloyd around the flash, if this happens pre-lantern, could be big. So we need to see some passive play from Lloyd and Moss up until the point of Christmas lantern.
This is interesting as well. Avoid this lane swap and actually lose some minions just to make sure that they're not caught in that awkward position for a long time. See what the Dev is going to play the solution hyper aggressively. What these Chinese AD carries do when they are playing this champion.
Well, level 2 from Lloyd and Moss, they did. They leveled up here. But nothing turned for that one. Mako was roaming around, so he's actually late to the party.
They need to get level 3 as soon as possible. Getting it gone is good if you have flash to get out of the initial jungle gang, but clear up good path to the top. Just immediately teams trail ahead in experience and they win some trades and they get overconfident. They forget they're actually a flash down, especially when Gragas can come out of the corner, go over the wall, multiple team opportunities here.
Right now, Lloyd actually burning a ton of mana trying to clear the wave and push into the turret, and that's actually will allow him to bounce back, but Jinx actually has pretty good use of mana if she can have it, but here we have Fawn and Clearlove looking to press in a G4.
Yeah, Clearlove was actually trying to read a flash there, I believe. Takes a lot of damage.
Auto is not worth pulling in a turret right there.
Even though it looked incredibly silly there, higher level opponent may have actually flashed there, because if you respect Clearlove as a jungler, you respect the fact that he can body slam flash there, and you may preemptively want to flash there. So she could have flash out of his. I think it was the correct play to make.
Not normally flash. He likes to flash on top of it. Tornado doesn't land, but G4.
Playing so aggressively, and even has the wind shield back up. So neither Rain nor Whittlelance will do any damage to him here.
In the bot lane, Mako cancel the hook here. Amazing J slightly ahead in tempo and just CS, 4 CS up. Trying to get into that melee matchup. No minions here for Pawn to dash out, so he'll actually have to dash over the floor.
Chance to go in.
If he moves in, but I think the gank has already been telegraphed. Vanguard show up anywhere. Lloyd, G4 probably changes behavioral pattern. That's how you spell ganks. If somebody goes from super passive to suddenly moving forward into potential kill range, well then you know you're getting ganked.
It was a worthwhile gank though. Missed a cannon minion. Moss dodges the Winter's bite there. Deft going very aggressive. Flame Chomp's not going to find anyone. Piercing light over the top of Lloyd as well as EDG. Definitely putting the pressure on, but it was a decent trade back from Bangkok Titans.
Really well played by Deft. He just kept hitting Lloyd. He's going to out-trade very easily. Lucian early level against Jinx right there. Moss was still dealing with Mako here on Bronze. And just, you're seeing sort of the little things to make this type of player. Deft knew Fresh had no more impact to have and just walked the Jinx.
This is great on both sides here. We see Amazing J slightly trailing ahead of the Darius pick. It seems that he'll probably likely use his gap pose to either get on the Darius, but Darius spins that axe, or dash away out of the damage and that way comfort. Try to slow him down, whittle away at him while he's
Shield.
He had a shield, so if you don't deal any damage,
It's weird because the mechanic changed at some point, so where shields, even if a shield did block the damage, you could still keep on up. But certain shields and certain abilities, it doesn't work that way still. But I believe most shields up are still
damage just so way towards the end of the animation that he's still.
There's a chance
Looks
that
a
it
little
was
earlier than that. But look,
Yeah, it's a 10th of a second window to just not stop recall period without a stun. I just don't remember the shield rules, unfortunately.
One to go back, grab himself a seal, heading towards that static ship. We'll see whether he goes for a turn towards the second side of it.
He denied the cannon with the shield there.
They also go so aggressively that they're not going to step in. Cliff's lurking around, so if you go aggressively, they actually not because it looks just straight up dumb, but then they go in and get close here.
Nice.
Oh, they still able to get this time. Ignite's ticking down. It is going to be enough first blood for the Deft. Moss underneath the turret. They're not going to go for any dives. Deft wanders away. 200 health. Easily enough.
And this is the synergy between those passives. From Ocean and Raw right there. Instant stuff after the flash. Last kill after body slam flash. Finally get that kill. This is G4 being aggressive on again.
Very aggressive Chipmunk there in the mid lane.
I think Moss played that so well. He was already even after the play against Body Slam, but the flash got him in range just in time to make the stun land regardless.
I think the correct play there, this is not storing last and flashing himself. You can actually give your AD carry a flash.
Yeah, there's the last breath. The Wild Growth comes out though. Moss is here, able to give a shield at least. This is the Windwall Pawn just trying to get his way back, but look at the Flame Moss finds up the Nesson's flash out from Pawn.
Really nicely done. Really nicely done. Flash loss for that one. Boomy Boots first
Yep.
item as well to roam into that lane right away. Really nice play by Moss. And whoa! Shot in G4! Oh, yes he did! 1-to-1 in kills. BKT looking much better than last week.
That was ridiculous. Moss there as well picks himself up the assist from previously, but that was all G4, knowing his damage potential, and that's not something that you'd expect from this assassin player playing Lulu in the mid lane.
Flash TP Lulu got the kill on Flash Ignite Yasuo. That doesn't happen very often.
He didn't even need the TP to get the kill.
Anything can be an assassin if you just believe.
Right. Well, I mean, look, if there's anyone that can do it as well.
Assassin, so I mean, sure. So a late lead right now for G4. Now, it was not a hard carry in itself, of course. You need your team to do something good for the rest of, Lulu to do her job, but this game is equal in gold 9 minutes in. That is not something you expect.
Yeah, some of the opportunities here is the fact that people got that kill pretty decently here in the lane, but to make up for the fact that Lloyd is now pickaxing BF, so there's a slash bottom lane.
Yeah, he's getting zoned too because he's more rogue play. That costs you somewhere else on the map, but that exactly is the item you see here. All players head to head.
He's stacking that passive on top of himself. Warlock's able to get a few cheeky hits across.
See 007X though, he's actually ready to go. Mako, looking to jabs, decent crush, shield goes fire! Forces the ultimate there. And you see the pickaxe into BF. Very hard to play, especially to a Lucian, because he just wants to position for there's one window where you misstep and you can actually get dashed so aggressively.
There's also the fact that he ain't full culling. It's probably not great.
Impressive aim by Def. It's always hard to do, so gotta give him some props there. Quick rush check by Lloyd. So there's no radar as far as they come out. As far as they can tell. Double 7 is super on radar, interestingly. So going to be a frontliner, less of an assassin with that
We need
build.
to see a play out of him though. You can't
Yeah.
afford to be tempted
He's
to
6
the
on
game and
radar.
have 0 ganks. No impact so far and getting out jungle. That's the difference though. Kluov's actually ahead of him still.
Thing is, off this wolf camp, I think he should be going. He should build up the 5 stacks, walk into Lulu's lane, get a Whimsy, and do a point blank stun that's impossible to win wall. He should get a kill on Pawn. You can see where the lane is being pushed right now. G4 doesn't push up.
Pawn's playing with respect. He knows it's going to clear right around the one most likely to be ganked too. One lane you really don't want to gank, but Rengar is echo because he can just deny the possible burst with the ultimate. So Kluov's just trying to predict the Rengar gank right here, and EDG is playing quickly. That's the same amount of respect for 007X. So if he reveals at any given point, we may see EDG turn on the aggression again.
Like, sort of hanging back towards his team. Trying to get a pseudo thing in there, but Clearlove looking for a game.
This is the second time he's sidestepped an explosive battle from the Gragas. Every time Clearlove comes in the game, moving forward to Jukat, predicting it, the cast time, really solid player from G4. He's definitely feeling comfortable.
Like, absolutely very well right now. 6 CS up and really trying to push around Pawn. Unfortunately, the ganks still are not landing. And of course, this top lane so far behind, Mako can easily block all of Lloyd's damage. So this 2-on-2 is not a place you can go. You mentioned earlier, Echo's not one either. Though it means they did just burn his ult to get back to lane off of a recall. So there is a window to gank this 1v1 in the bot lane.
Almost halfway off that cooldown though. Not exactly huge. Culling comes back up. Immediately used one more time as the bottom lane are going to soak that one up.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse. We've got a 16 CS lead. Now the stun in towards G4 is going to get just out. Oh, G4 in time.
Dodges out of the way of the tornado there as well. That could have spelled his death, but G4, Wild Growth down. Amazing J paying of his...
G4 is nullifying a lot of these roams and plays from EDG, but BKT as a team are not cross-mapping at all. They're not getting any gains from the time invested from EDG in these plays, so they really need to start cross-mapping, making an opening, somehow get a gank. Lloyd and Moss still low in that tower due to the calling poke going in.
That was the flash. Hits no one with the Glacial Fissure. 007X here in exactly the right position. Moss takes a lot of damage. 007X still trying to get the work done. G4 is, of course, teleported all the way up here. Massive damage out as EDG. They want to try and re-engage, but they can't find the way in. Death Sentence lands. Clearlove has to be so careful. Moss picks it up with the help of Pix.
And that's going to be it, though. This one looks like EDG are able to run away, but Bangkok has a kill and a gold lead 12 minutes in over EDG.
Not to mention the fact that Warlock is just hanging out, killing creeps. Not able to possibly get some damage in this mid lane, but Warlock's just being Darius right now.
BKT, they're just incredibly solid. They're aggressively dodging skill shots from EDG. They're showing they're not afraid. Sidestepping skill shot, Lantern out, hook on the jungler. So they're playing these fights almost better than EDG overall and coming out ahead. Even though EDG are the one initiating these fights. Still, we need to see a gank here from 007X, especially since Pawn's flash was down earlier, but he hasn't been punished for that at all.
And G4 now completed the 40% cooldown reduction with those Lucidity boots and the Merlinomicon, so definitely online as far as that's concerned. Can be skipping himself a lot, but that being said, Pawn
Knock up available.
Yep, can't land it just yet. As Moss might be in trouble now, forced to use the flash. Death Sentence lands on the turret. Lloyd, no mana, taking so much damage.
Yeah, Bangkok Titans overstayed. They won that fight, but if you don't immediately base, you put yourself behind in the next 1 or 2 minutes. If you win a fight, the value from winning a fight comes after you base, because you're the first ones to base. You have general better position on the map because you can control your side lanes, your waves better, and then you have tempo. If you overstay too much, then you actually get punished again. That's what EDG did there. Then came from base, they poked you out, and now suddenly EDG are trailing ahead of the play again.
But now the back's going to come through from Deft, able to push up that wave. So, well, it's going to miss out on a couple. On decent good wall positioning there as he's going 1v2 at the moment. But we do have Amazing J making his way up. Is he going to get there in time, though? As there's a parallel convergence. 007X in a whole bunch of trouble. There's the last breath. The Death Sentence lands on Mako at the same time as Warlock makes his way in. Apprehend pulls him back. G4 locks down another kill. 3-1 for the Bangkok Titans.
Could you believe the game is actually going this way? A 1,500 gold lead for Bangkok Titans. Pawn has to recall in the mid lane. I mean, this is the world's of upset. This is unreal.
It looks so easy for for Moss to walk in, throw lantern, so you don't really give any credit to that play, but he has consistently been at the right place at the right time. His decision-making far superior to his mechanics, who are already fantastic in this game. Hasn't missed a crucial hook so far, but he's always at the right time with a lantern. For me, that's even more impressive when I watch Thresh players. So those early Moby boots paying dividends so far for Moss.
Perfect.
2,000 gold ahead.
Who'd have thought?
Perfect game from Moss. 100% kill participation, no deaths. Moby Boots first got his mid laner a kill, right at level 6. This is a great performance so far from Bangkok Titans.
Yeah, level 9 Jinx right now, this is where the Jinx Lucian matchup starts getting incredibly hard for Death because he's getting outranged, outtraded easily, not a word, but just a lot easier here for Lloyd. And if Moss connects a hook, we're approaching that time in the game where that could actually lead to a kill. Earlier, it was incredibly hard to one-shot, but we have pickaxe here with tier 2 boots. That's enough to really hook into traps, into flay and box, enough to blow anybody up almost in this game.
I actually like those items more than what Deft has as well. I mean, he's only 600 gold away from the Infinity Edge, yes, but doesn't have those Berserker's Greaves for the extra movement around. And Lloyd, he's sort of set up with this I'm going to kill all of your turrets type build here in the early game.
I mean, Lucian's passive does want you to get more AD, more like crit, because you always get that
That's a
double
good
shot
point.
coming out. So it is debatable. If you crit, the other if you don't crit, then obviously
Essentially, yeah,
it's RG.
yeah. I mean, expected it's fine. It's roughly equal here. We're gonna see right now though. He had Zap to reveal that Mako's waiting to touch. That went just fine. Devil 7X, I believe, is still out. Using the all game long though. Trying to sneak clear love for this side.
The mid lane tower has fallen, so that means not only can Lulu push a lot better, but look at how many deep wards Bangkok Titans have in this game compared to the last game. Also, if Pawn ever oversteps pushing, he doesn't have the problem to defend himself in the back, so a lot more play opportunities presenting themselves for 7X. And EDG again here at the top lane. These ganks haven't worked so far. Can they work right now?
Nice.
Gotta respect this.
Bottom out.
Every time BKT see it coming. And they're gonna split up. And there is a couple more champions. Goes down to 7X. He finally finds the arm on his keyboard. A double kill. It's 5-1 BKT.
Bangkok Titans, what a play! Fantastic hook from Moss here on left, and Dilla the same lane over and over again. Isn't it the definition of insanity, trying to do the same thing, expecting different results? Really good game reads here so far from Bangkok Titans.
Yeah, and EDG, they just got completely ready from the get-go. He was already there in that lane. They knew exactly what was going on, and based on all of this deep vision, and it's also the fact that BKT just seem to have their number right now.
They do, absolutely. Quick history lesson for you guys. Flash Wolves are the only team in the history of the World Championship to lose a game to a wildcard team and still make quarterfinals. Right now, this is grim. Deft can't quite jump away in time. The Chomper is already there. The two-man.
Also, if you look at G4's positioning on the map, he doesn't really join this fight, but he's there quicker because he pushed in mid lane early. He's playing very heavy wave clear versus no wave clear on Pawn. Powers that in the mid lane. Again, map movement advantage if these fights ever go backwards. So really good reaction. We see another fight here. Deft.
Yeah, double teleports coming down. Deft actually has to use the flash and the relentless pursuit to get himself out. Dragon's still angry with him, actually, as Bangkok Titans still yet to find too much. There's the first one. Lloyd picks up Amazing Day Pawn. Lloyd's after him. Ability to get something down, but Clearlove takes the Super Mega Death Rocket. Deft is so dead. They do manage to get one back as Warlock finally dies, but Lloyd's still looking for it. Zap doesn't find it. But man, the Bangkok Titans, they're on a roll.
5,000 gold up, 18 minutes. This is a massive lead here. The Bangkok Titans poised in a really good spot.
And look at Warlock. He was able to survive so incredibly long in that fight, and this is before the point where he starts building tanky. He had the Black Cleaver finished, and you saw how much damage that did in the end of the fight. That's all he had to provide. In addition to the Giant belt that he has now picked up a Chain Vest, a Null Magic Mantle, so he's combined with G4's Lulu, who is already trailing ahead. It is going to be not impossible for EDG to focus down Warlock, and that is essentially what we talked about earlier. Warlock will now provide the zone, aggressive damage for Lloyd to really move around this fight, get a reset, flash aggressively, and clean up the fight. Bangkok Titans are playing to the strength of their composition, something they did not do last game. And Moss, again, it's almost easy. This is
a goal lead here. Deft, perfect play right there. Moss gets done, but guess what? He's the tanky support. And look at what a position Warlock is. A 3-man pull. Deft is already leading this fight. He hit half a cooling at best right now. defense of the bleed stacks. Warlock this team, and we go right back into another fight with underneath the Rengar, and a killing spree.
He's just, Juan's just cat food right now.
And we see, finally, we get to see Lulu combined with a Darius pick him overall, because if you call Burden Burden, he will get a quick Q off on you. Everybody's standing so close to him, trying to burn him down. Getting that wild growth on a triple target buys you so much time, allowing him to straight up carry that fight, because he just stayed alive. He didn't really have to do much, you know, press Q, press R, but the team competition is really working in the Titans' favor.
Gonna drop off. And it's not like they're getting power spike, something like that. This is Jinx Lulu. It only gets stronger and stronger as this game goes on. Not to mention Warlock on the areas. It's very scary here for EDG.
And we've of course got the Zeke's Herald coming in soon for Moss here. So we're just playing his siege position. And just being careful around not getting Wombo engaged on. Keep in mind, this is Yasuo Gragas Echo. The ability to get one shot is still real. You have to respect Edward Gaming's teammate.
Thing is, if you look at Moss and the way he's played, he hasn't played a frontline push at all. He's played a backline push with really good positioning for lanterns, and then he generally hooks on aggressors. He hasn't been hooking the guys in the back. He's been hooking frontline aggressors. That allows you to open up a more utility-focused build with the Zeke's Herald. All he wants to do is his Eldritch Rod. He just wants to survive, get that to Cork, and then Lloyd will reap the benefits from that item. But Moss, he's been playing fantastic so far on Trash. Zero deaths is in this competition.
We're at this midway. Of course, it's not over yet. Base not broken, anything like that. 6,000 gold, though, is the lead of the Bangkok Titans. Now they've got to show that they can close out against one of the best teams here at Worlds, or theoretically one of the best teams here at Worlds.
I mean, these guys are the reigning mid-season invitational champions. They got the second seed out of the Chinese LPL. I mean, Edward Gaming are an amazingly good League of Legends team right here. Bangkok Titans.
He's baiting it. Pawn knows that there's a warrior. He only moves out alone, hoping to get a reaction here. 7X playing with the respect. This is what we see all the time. Fog of War. Vision denial. They know. This may be big.
This from amazing Jay.
Able to get a double send. EDG, they have the job at the moment. Deathno gets closed in on. G4 trying to get him out of the fight. And you can see Warlock already in amongst it. He's gigantic. Massive heals. Deathno's dead already. Double kill now for Clearlo on the back. Double 7X. Solo EDG. This is the team fighting team we're expecting. They finally showed up, and that's the ace.
The ace off of reading the invade. The setup was perfect. The damage is all there. Lloyd died at the very start. He was flashless. Even though Pond did not get a great ulti off, it didn't matter. That all went according to plan.
The setup, that was one of the most beautiful setup fights I've seen in the entirety of the world. Using the paperwork, sitting in that brush, you see somebody place a weapon, one team moves out and then backs out, not even into the brush, but passively. You act as if you're scared, and you just camp for so long, because eventually people have to guess, and then you get a beautiful opening there. Let's watch that again. This control here, they see people move into the brush, so they have all the information. Parallel conversion comes down, Amazing goes in, and 7X thinks he has an opening here, but Lloyd gets immediately blown up.
I mean, it's a miracle that he rooted Pond, because that was a perfect Dragon's ulti that would have set up the best last breath of Worlds. So they got that brief respite here, but the problem is his whole team is out of position. No one's going to be able to do what they want in time. Okay, Deft goes down, but it's way too late. There's a bunch of threats on this team comp. Yasuo was able to hit whomever he wanted the whole time without dying, and it was a great setup.
This is not the first time we've seen EDG do this. When they faced off against the IG, they were falling behind about 2,000 gold. They had no risk on the map at all, but they pink towards one area, camped there with 5, and that was Clearlo actually flashed over a wall to start the game. They used everything to just make one pick and get the map back. Again, these clutch plays with vision denial is something that EDG can use to get back into this game.
Clearlo now 4-1-3 on this Gragas. 100% kill participation. Hasn't been too much either in comparison to his teammates, and that's a frozen heart. Now completed against the Jinx. That's very important.
And in terms of getting the map back, we actually have EDG able to put 3 down on the bottom side of the map in the recent past. There's only one left here, but EDG trying to set up for this Dragon. Bangkok Titans already got the first, spawns again in 35 seconds. I feel like we're in a position where they could fight for this and try to make a play. 30 seconds, Deft has to recall or walk away now. Gonna do that here.
More importantly, they take back control of their red jungle, which is the access point to Baron Vision from behind, which slows down the rotations from top to mid from Bangkok Titans as well. No longer wall and pass straight to that jungle with no fear of getting hit. He has to walk all the way around, and that slows your tempo down so much that EDG can start moving out the vision to the next step.
And you can see EDG eventually changing the approach they're trying to do here as well. I mean, you can see that defensive vision so much more deliberate now. It seems like they're sort of waking up and gone, okay, Bangkok Titans, they are here to play. Give them an AD game if we can.
Don't forget though, last fight Lloyd got instantly popped in that fight. He wasn't at the back, he didn't have the offensive zone that Warlock brings or 007X. Look for his positioning, and when he turns gold, look at his damage. That's when he procs for 8 seconds, he will have 50% additional crit.
Now I want to see how these people move their resources. Warlock right now has teleport, is pushing the top lane, and he's going to pressure that tier 2 turret pretty soon. But because of that, EDG with 5, they battering ram into the jungle, they take things over, they get a couple of wards down. They guys have to play defensive here, they have to run away. EDG have all 5. 007 pops ultimate, but there's no teleport coming in. They can't possibly engage a 4v5. A waste of an ultimate.
Yeah, not going to go in on the thrill of the hunt. They did have the wild growth, so they could have gotten something happening, but G4 is leading Winter's bites. EDG is going to force the dragon.
They've got to respect Clearlove, though. He's got a perfect 3-man ulti right here if he wants it. There's one, he catches Moss. Luluwolf comes across, there's the engage, but Darius is not joining the fire. It's a 5v4, Edward Gaming chasing down. They picked up one already. Lloyd might be next, he's trying. It's already 3 kills picked up as BKT do not choose the right kind of fight. They give away a bunch of kills, they give away the map control. Here's the 4th kill, it's all just for a top lane turret.
I'm incredibly flabbergasted with what just went down. The entire way of Bangkok Titans winning this fight is sending in Warlock first, allowing him to soak up damage and putting EDG in a lose-lose situation. How do you hit the Darius? Actually, like he hits you back and Jinx kills you, or you ignore him and he'll kill you anyways. That is the key way for BKT to win his fights, and then they contest the second dragon for absolutely no reason here. 4v5, no teleport. This is a major game influencing mistake.
I actually have no idea how they thought that was the right decision to make there. Of course, fighting 4v5, yes, might have just been more excited about the fact that the early game went so well.
I mean, this is why this team is 0-4 in the group right now. They have some good plays, make some good choices. 4v5 makes no sense at all.
So they placed the ward, but I don't think that Warlock saw where the ward was placed, and it was too late, so he didn't feel comfortable teleporting in there. He could have also teleported on the Lantern, which should be re-enabled, so I think it is just poor communication overall that Warlock didn't find a teleport opportunity. He glanced over, doesn't see a ward, continues to split push, doesn't realize the ward is placed. By the time he realizes where it is, it takes 4 seconds to get there. If you don't have communication on where your access point is going to be in these fights, well, then you're going to lose them. So this is probably just likely a very large communication error in terms of where do I actually TP.
Yeah.
But if we have a look at it, still item at the moment. That last Whisper with Deft, who doesn't quite have the long sword of it just yet. Probably can go back to relatively push up this mid lane, possibly grab an inner turret. But now you can see that Gold back in favor of EDG.
I don't see EDG giving this game up. The fact they made it come back over 20 minutes and are now in the lead already. It took them 6 minutes to do that.
Same token though, Warlock, having him in these fights compared to not is the biggest difference. G4.
Virgins doesn't actually find any stun there. The Colin comes across everyone. But you can Lloyd, lots of extra damage. Lloyd untouched on the backline. Deft does take down that last breath was fantastic as Lloyd's going to get obliterated. Warlock now says, where's my team gone, guys? He's going to fall down, spinning around there in the river. EDG, team fighting still so beautiful. Blaze, not quite enough.
Blaze damage is not enough for Warlock right there, and Lloyd doing perfect AoE rockets up to the point where we're pound.
Oh man, self-set Yasuo though. He had to take his licks for a while, but charging his own tornado tossed it through the pipeline. The one-man ulti on Lloyd to save the big. That was big. That was the fight. That's going to be Baron as well. Edward Gaming now sizably ahead. 4,000 gold up, and they're only going to get more.
And now go back, pick up some more items. Last Whisper, leader for both AD carries.
So initially aggression here again. This is BKT not warding their flanks, and they're bunching up position. This is already a problem for them. That Warlock's not in a good position. He can't peel right now. Moss is out of the fight, and he can't really save G4 here with a Lantern. G4 not adding much more to the fight, and AoE rockets from Lloyd. Not enough. Windball blocks one rocket there too, and then he walks into Yasuo Q and gets ulted. So Zeke's didn't really get proc on Lloyd at all, and that's what you need. You need Zeke's AoE rockets for 90% crit to win that fight, and the time it took for him to charge up, the parts of the lineups were already slaughtered here by EDG just stockpiling on top of them.
Yep, another 1,300 gold. We'll have that Infinity Edge as well. The 100% crit, those core items of the Trinity Force Static Shift, IE, and this Yasuo will be doing even more than he already is.
Oh, man.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
G4. He does have the Rabbit and Zap Cap, so it's 3-item blue. Still able to do something, but wants to be augmenting Lloyd, wants to be adding sticks to that damage, wants to make Warlock the most gigantic Darius ever. But here's the fight. Vaughn gonna get played back in. Moss gonna get knocked up. No last breath to come out just yet. Warlock trying to close the gap, but EDG okay, wait.
Wind Wall blocked too much of the damage during all the CC. There was no damage coming out of Lloyd. Root lands in a clear low, but it doesn't really matter anymore. Warlock
That
not
knock up on
range for that either.
007X mid-ultimate, so he couldn't engage.
Amazing J's not even here. This was a 4v5 here. Just EDG now finally outclassing their counterparts individually. Does help that you have a Baron buff to make that boost.
already up to the inhibitor wall. Plenty of damage there. And it will see Amazing J walk away, but bot lane tier 2 is already dead. Edward Gaming up 7,000 gold now. They win this game. They will be sitting on 3 wins. And it will require H2 to win them to have a chance at losing their spot at quarterfinals right now. DG looking good.
Back to base now, pick up possibly. Either that QSS might be going towards so there's just more damage. Clears out the bottom lane. Still haven't lost any inhibitors yet. Out of the Bangkok Titans. And they're behind 6,000 gold. Team fights that once were going fantastically for this Southeast Asian team, just not quite finding their feet at this point in the game.
Yeah, Windwall with some good Windwall placement from Pawn just completely just deny Lloyd's damage up. It doesn't matter how much crit, how much damage he has overall if he just can't land the projectiles necessary. So we'll need some better positioning here from the Titans or make a pick on Pawn. That is generally their opening. Kill Pawn, then kill the rest.
One dancing around the mid lane now as well.
007X though hasn't found too many picks with that Rengar in recent history, unfortunately. Of course, lack of a gold lead makes that easier. Dragon number 2, Red not going to be a problem. Definitely second secure of a neutral objective, and as many attempts.
Trying so many things at Warlock at the moment. Doesn't take much damage from it. Crimson Brown going just throwing out another gun. It seems like as soon as that button's available, he presses it. Mason J gonna get caught by the hook from Moss, but Buff gonna fall down.
It's quickly realizing they can't fight not against this lineup from EDG.
Especially not that close available as well from Mako, but EDG now setting up siege. Parallel to go to the passing of that situation. 007X does jump in. There's the upper hand back. Massive damage coming down. G4 uses the Zhonya's. EDG actually extending a lot of damage here in the backline. G4 still alive. Lloyd takes down Mako. Pawn find his way into the backline. It's a double kill already. Eventually falls, but Warlock, he's still hit dead. Finishes him off. Lloyd now against the wall. Does get the last crit, but EDG come out ahead 3 for 5.
Clear level DJ make the plays they need to in the front line. There's actually a good flash by Lloyd to dodge a body slam flash by Lula, but it's simply too many threats. Amazing J, even after Pond died, was still able to wreak havoc by enough time. EDG will get at least the inhibitor. They'll back after that one, but it's still furthers the gold lead.
Yeah, things towards the bottom side want to clear out the wave. Make sure they screw everything up and put all the pressure down on a Bangkok. After a little bit of time, I mean, they would have started pushing back. EDG would have had to rethink, but did find the team fight they were looking for in the siege moment.
Watch that again here. Philom gets engaged on. Want to keep your eyes on later on in the fight where G4 now uses his Zhonya's. He actually does a really good polymorph there on Pawn when he dashes in. Ends up dropping in the end of Lloyd. I think he wastes his ulti here. One auto attack would have done the same.
Yeah.
Could have changed a lot in the later stages of this fight. But again, we see Warlock finally soaking up damage, almost getting death down there. Just gets a couple bit of lifesteal. But that soaking, that spacing for Lloyd is exactly what they need to do. Sadly, now they are behind. But when Bangkok Titans play to their strengths, play the fight out well spaced, they can win it. Sadly enough, a couple of times in a row, they did not do that.
And Lloyd's positioning in that team fight, his ability to dodge out of the way of all of those abilities towards the end there was unbelievable. Just not quite enough this part of the game. 9,000 gold the lead. Amazing J trying to run away from everyone. Comes in.
And this is where you wonder, is Tank Rengar the way you're going for? If it was DPS Rengar, Def could get one shot at any given...
Sterak's Gauge, you know?
Yeah, but
Base damage.
it requires you to at least tank at the start of the fight. So for people that don't know, Sterak's Gauge only gets really online after you've taken damage. That's when Rengar already gets kited.
Yeah.
Once he does his jump, then he can take damage, but he's
By
being
now,
kited.
most
If
of you
went
probably
full-on
know that when a character
kamikaze,
grabs the ledge
kinda
a second
Rengar, you can
time
take out,
without
you can
getting back,
solo queue Rengar,
Yeah,
you can
solo
take
queue
out the
Rengar.
enemy AD carry and suddenly, or Pawn for that matter, and then kind of shifts the spectrum.
It just feels like all the Rengar games we've seen so far at Worlds have looked like players who just aren't that familiar with Rengar.
Yeah.
You know, not finding ganks nearly as often, not landing the ultimates. And, well, EDG capitalizing off of the biggest comeback we may have had all Worlds long. Wind wall burn, though. Maybe they go win. 7 has the upgraded E.
Ledge snap vulnerability. Now what this is exactly, it's when a character grabs the ledge, for whatever reason, they don't appear to be invincible on the first frame. Now, most of you guys know that whenever you snap or grab the ledge, you get some invincibility to protect yourself. But apparently, from what we've found out, you don't get the invincibility at frame 1. It might be a little bit of a bigger window, but it's probably not much bigger. So for now, we're going to say at least. And this is a good example of a tech video that was brought to us by aka Larry, showing how you can hit Sheik before she gets her ledge invincibility on and just wanted to touch on that first. So as you can see in these first few examples, when Sheik of these, you can actually spike her clean out of it. Okay, so I want to show that it's not just spikes, but active enough and big enough. If you do it easy, you can still intercept Sheik. So, that Sheik is indeed grabbing the ledge and getting hit. Here's an example of Sheik at low percent using both of her jumps, getting hit, and then getting to jump back somehow and get back on stage. Okay, to show that it's not just Sheik, here are some of the characters up being to the ledge. Keep in mind, all of our air jumps hit and then getting our jumps back. We must be grabbing the ledge at some point to get our air jumps back. Okay, so as these last few examples play out, I want to again credit Larry, aka DEHF, and BAM for originally discovering the whole hitting Sheik out of her up B before she gets ledge invincibility. So thanks a lot to them for this discovery, and I hope that this expansion on the subject helped. Again, ledge snap vulnerability, I don't know if it'll become a thing or not, but it is certainly very, very interesting and could change a lot of matchups. So I hope you guys can get in the lab yourselves and find out ways to abuse this with your favorite characters. And I'll probably come back and make a couple more videos for some character-specific stuff that may be not obvious.
to really I'm starting to ball up here because they're picking Echo, like this full engaged composition, like go in the deep against a Darius and a Lulu, which is so strong against it. And it's just so quick.
And maybe you can speak to this because this was a game where you expected EDG to go with comfort picks to get confidence. But when you pick comfort and then you lose the early game, how does that affect your mentality, Tabe?
I think, for example, because just now at the games before they are competing against EDG, I said BKT has to ban the Lulu if they want to pick Yasuo. I think they have very in-depth information. They know that Lulu is a good counter pick against Yasuo. So we can see that G4 is using Lulu against Pawn. And the thing is, after most is rolling effectively, we can see that there is a huge lead.
There's a player that I want to highlight here because BKT had control of the game for such a long period of the game. Moss was the catalyst for all of it, showing up mid lane with that gank there on to G4, helping him pick up an early kill on a pawn. You know, a playmaker. You talked about the prioritization of the Thresh, and we even heard Atlas saying, I really want to see him play Thresh because he is a playmaker here and can really be a catalyst for this team.
Well, these two players single-handedly did a solo kill here from G4, dismantled the Chiefs in IWCQ. It was Moss's Thresh and then the play out of G4 that were able to make this team even be successful. And you see the death sentences on point. And this guy, you give him any momentum, like they are a momentum team, and you can see that they rode that for so long.
I had no idea about Moses Thresh, and now I know why people hyped it up. Because, whoa.
And we were talking, if you get the confidence of Bangkok Titans and mix it with the raw ability and shot calling of Pain, you would have like a super IWC team right now because the opposite ends of the spectrums, maybe not the thought behind the play there, but definitely the raw aggression is starting to come out for Bangkok.
And so, go.
So what you're saying is take the balls from Pain, take the balls from Bangkok, and just give them to Pain with beautiful.
Absolutely. Something that I do want to look at, you know, as we mentioned, they controlled the game for a very long period of time. I want to look at that because this is something that Crepo and EDG does very well when they are behind or when they need to, you know, blow a hole into the game. Vision plays.
Yeah, so what they do is EDG look for the one guy on the map that can take everything back. So you see this time they actually set up the brush and they have the approach warded and they bait it really nicely with Amazing J's stun here. And from there, it's a very clean fight. The snare was actually so important from 007X because otherwise Pawn would have taken this over. But EDG, they're a class team. There's no one debating that. It's just the arrogance coming into the game that's putting them in these holes in the first place.
Yeah. And, you know, funnily enough, with the gold lead that BKT had here, it was still a pretty close fight, even with the element of surprise on the side of EDG.
Because Darius could take like 4 people. It was massive.
It's like combine this play with a good draft and top contender. But with this draft, I can't see them doing like well further in the tournament.
So EDG, they do pick up this win. It's very important for them. They needed this win in order to keep their run towards that second seed alive. But Tabe, I'm coming to you because it doesn't look pretty. They don't look good, right? And they're going to have to go up against H2K, which beat Bangkok Titans pretty easily in the prior game. So what are we looking for EDG to fix going into that game against H2K?
I think after this game, I think the whole team of EDG will be have a better team morale now because they have finally to win a game. And I think top laner Amazing J has been a very good job in playing Echo too. So I think if they want to beat H2K easily, they have to have a huge lead all over the lane, not only AJ, because just now we can see that they're against BKT, but they have very huge lead by BKT.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And one thing that H2K can take on the flip side is that Amazing J wants to 1v1. So if they camp that lane, just like SKT did, there might be an opening there because that was a 1v1 lane that Amazing J did very well in a counter pick.
All right, well, you know, Bangkok Titans surprising everyone with that game, coming out very strong. However, EDG does pick up the victory. Next up, though, H2K returns to the stage to face off against SK Telecom. We'll be back to see if they can rise to the occasion right after this.
There's Edward Gaming looking to try and pick up another victory after what was a difficult defeat against SKT. Dessens lands on Nemeko at the same time as Warlock makes his way in. Abraham pulls him back. G4 locks down another kill. 3-1. Something now, but Clearlock makes a super kick. Deathrocket. Deft is so dead. Deathrocket is in on G4 trying to get him out of the fight. And you can see Warlock already in amongst it. He's gigantic, massive heals. Eventually falls, but Warlock, he's still hit. Finishes him off. Lloyd now against the wall. The last crit. EDG, after a comeback from 6,000 gold, pick themselves up a victory.
final day of Group C, coming at you live from Paris. I am Eric Milonakis here with Christopher Monte Cristo Michaels and Joshua Jat Leeson. And of course, we're getting set for our next game, which is going to be HSK versus SK. Now, it's going to be interesting, guys, because Faker's out. Easy Hoon is in.
I love the Hoon.
The Hoon!
The Hoon is back. I was taking a look at his solo games, playing a lot of Rye.
rise, just like Faker has been. Oriana Lulu, of course, is famous as Azir, so we're going to see one of these 4 champions. Yes.
Yeah, and I think the real story here is that Ryu doesn't get to play against Faker. I think that's good for H2K though, because watching that first game, it felt like H2K was more playing the game of kill Faker. Called League of Legends.
That's something that everybody's played against SK Telecom this tournament so far. And the one thing we've learned for sure is that it does not work. It's going to be interesting to see with EasyHoon in how the priorities are going to shift around the map. It's still a little bit bad for Ryu, denied.
Yeah.
Denied that chance.
The thing that could be positive for you is that H2K looked a lot cleaner in their win earlier today, and they still have a chance in this group. Obviously, it's not expected that they win this game against SK. They're more looking forward to the EDG game, which is immediately.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, suddenly things are really, really big with Picard actually nearly taking down EDG. It looked a little bit scary, so you got to wonder if H2K can pull it off.
EDG is playing pretty poorly today. They really snagged that last game out of the fire. I mean, thankfully for them, they have the raw Yasuo wall combo to a lot of the Jinx damage, but I'm not sure they could come out on top if they didn't have those 2 champions. And EDG, or H2K rather, pretty happy looking at that game, moving forward to the rest of it.
It was just about as close as it possibly could have gotten. It was like this much of a team fight away. There were like certain moments where I looked at 4-7 and jumped on the right person at the right time. They could have maybe turned the fight around.
Absolutely. And it's also worth noting that H2K played SKT worse than any other team has in this group. They were 20+ minutes in, and H2K was still in control.
Guys, it's time to check out the starting lineups. You know them well by now, but let's check out H2K in the top lane. We've got Odo Omne, of course, down in the jungle. It is Lulex, the holy round hero. In mid, Ryu all the way from Korea, and then ADC we have Ngannou. And finally, down at support, it's Casing rather. And at coach position, whatever, it's Crawley.
On the red side,
Nails it.
Here we got Marin in the top lane. Benki in the jungle. EasyHoon will be the mid laner, subbing in first game at Worlds for him. There's going to be the support for him, who is the AD carry.
That's right.
And that is the SK Telecom lineup.
We got it, man.
We are so good at this.
So good at this. High five. Yeah. Hope you guys heard that. I am so ready for this match, man. I love watching Worlds. It's so good to see some international competition. I kind of saw these guys a little bit backstage. They looked in much better moods. They were kind of on the vibe that they were thinking of maybe get this done.
I mean, I'd be in a pretty great mood after seeing how EDG is playing today. If I'm H2K, there definitely is a window there. We're talking a little bit about how closely they played SKT. Well, it was close. They were only down by about 1,000 gold, but even H2K as a team had a really tough time overcoming any deficit at all. Coming into Worlds, when they were down by 1,000 gold by 20 minutes, they were 1-9. So they really need to make sure that they have a strong 20 minutes if they want to close it out.
It's also worth noting that in the early game, they've been very strong. Their gold leads in 10 minutes, rivaled and were better than Fnatic in the European LCS. Fnatic was undefeated, so it kind of goes to show the difference in the mid-lane game between those 2 teams. But it also kind of speaks to the chance of them being able to take a team by surprise, because when they're clicking, their early game is really good.
Yeah, and I really wonder on the SK side of things, how they're putting it easy. I feel like this is going to push SK Telecom a little bit more towards the standard type of play that we've seen from the KOO Tigers stylistically. Now, I think SKT would be able to do that a little better, but it's interesting to see if the styles change a lot. We haven't seen this with EasyHoon in a while.
Yeah, and when they did play with EasyHoon in the summer, it's worth noting that Bang played a lot. They really tried to move Bang onto more carry-oriented AD carries when Faker was out of the lineup, and have EasyHoon move into a supporting role. So they've had a pretty distinct identity of playing with both Faker and with EasyHoon. So we may see that Bang come out of the
We've already seen Martin completely carry this tournament. He had the 1,500 gold lead against Amazing J in the first game today, and coming into that, he had the most gold of any top player in the tournament average per game. Of course, stats in this group were a little strange, because we were thinking it was the Bangkok Titans that a lot of people were running up the numbers on. And then we saw play EDG
EDG close, so it's worlds, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding me. Marin had like 10 killed Darius games and things like that. He's really kind of stepped up. Sounds like we've got a little bit of a sound issue with the Blue guys. So they're getting on stage, and as soon as they do, we will see the Pixen band's going to swap out the headsets, it looks like.
Yeah. People may be wondering, why take out Faker right now? But at this stage of the tournament, yeah, exactly, why not? I don't want to show anything that Faker has for the quarterfinals. He didn't really show a lot here in the group stages. I mean, even just blind picking Rise selection in their last match. So just keep him undercover right now. Don't allow people to understand what his champion pool is going to be.
He already revealed the Olaf, though, so I don't know. The secret's out, guys.
And for the most part as well, SKT is probably guaranteed first place in this game. It's not mathematically secured so far, but if they win against either H2K here or against the Bangkok Titans in the final game, they will be first. And also, even if they were to lose both of those games, they would still have the tiebreaker over EDG. So the only way that they would get very first place if H2K won both games against EDG and SKT lost to Bangkok Titans. So there's really no need to try hard here for SKT.
You know, part of my brain says, well, obviously that's right. But then again, I was here for the last week of Worlds. I know what can happen in this tournament, so I'm not going to make any final judgments.
Compound onto that, there would still be a tiebreaker between SKT and H2K. Should that occur, so they get even another chance to get out of this group at first.
Unlikely. Well,
not mathematically impossible.
No, not mathematically impossible, that's true. But like we know, math has never been my strong. I'm not worried. Yeah. Go math, guys. So, it's like time to move into the champ select. Picks it pass for H2K versus SK Telecom. T1 Azir, our first man of the day, followed by that Mordekaiser. Not gonna let that one.
Yeah, and, you know, coming in here, the Azir ban is so common when you play against EasyHoon because he is an incredible talent on that particular champion, so no surprise that they would go ahead and pick that right out of the pool.
And Gangplank out of the way as well. One side banned out for H2K. Final ban on the other side incoming. H2K does have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more leeway than the blue side. They're going to use it for the evening.
Yeah, the Elise, I think, is a pretty smart choice, especially when you're doing in the lineup and more likely to be doing, you would expect side lane ganks. Elise, the best turret diving jungler, especially early game. We got to see that, in the first game of the day with Marin and Bengi getting off some tremendous ganks, and they won't be nearly as potent with Elise off the table.
Yeah, there's a Lulu fan, so I want to see the Darius first pick from H2K. But if we don't, you think SKT is going to grab it.
What's interesting about SKT so far in this group stage, when they've been on red side, it's pretty much been Mordekaiser gameplay for most of the game. So they're taking out power picks.
Yeah.
They haven't been something at one maybe pocket pick coming in. So that's they're very confident in their ability just without the power picks down to seal the points of their opponents.
This is what I call the Cloud special. If they lock it in, not only Cloud 9, now it's Cloud Templar in Korea as well. Cloud-oriented Will they lock it in, though? Answer, probably not.
Well, we've already seen Marin's Renekton against Darius, which will scare them away a little bit from Darius first. Because Sing looking to be a playmaker on Fresh. It was banned by SKT when SKT played them in the previous game.
Yeah, and the Lee Sin often taken out against H2K as well. They're going to have both champions. Should they choose to go for it? Bengi just try and deny that pick, but I have a feeling he's just going to play that.
Yeah, and as criticized as Lulex is as a jungler, he's a very good Lee Sin player. The move he played earlier today where he smited the minions while he was queuing, then kicked backwards from within the inhibitor turret was really impressive. And in my opinion, had a more well-known player pulled off that play, it would have been a highlight on Reddit for the execution it was.
Well, maybe we'll see that.
It's worth noting right now, as we see this Kalista lock-in, Bang is professionally undefeated on Kalista. He has never lost a game on this champion. No one lets him have it. No one lets SK Telecom have it, because how do SK Telecom win? Usually they win out of the strength of the laning phase, and that is not... And their control over Dragon, and that champion is perfect for both.
Well, the funny thing is that Bang got to play Kalista a little bit more often than some of the AD carriers in Korea because of so many bans being targeted on Marin and on Faker, too.
The other thing with the SKT win rate statistics is, I think, Monty, you were mentioning, since the TS teams merged, they have an 80% win rate as a team.
Yes.
So since Kalista was just released in this season, they're going to have a higher chance of being a very strong win rate for Bang. Of course, though, he's still undefeated. He's still impressive.
Renekton locked in by H2K. Interesting. But can they Renekton like Marin Renektons?
It's bold, I think, to pick SK Telecom's counter pick into SK Telecom. I'm excited to see how it works out.
It challenges Marin's knowledge of the matchup. And I wonder how much knowledge Ottawamne has of that, because it really felt like when Marin had the lane against Darius, he got that really slight lead from nearly one and then knew exactly how to play. I don't actually expect SKT to forfeit that lead to Ottawamne in the first place, so it will be a much more testing matchup, not to mention, it feels like Marin's the one who...
Well, all right. A little bit of a blast. Fire! In the jungle. Wolf on Alistar would not be a big shock, I suppose.
That's a really dominant Wolf champion.
Depends on the day.
It's usually for better with an extraordinarily high win rate on Alistar. And the Evelynn thing is not something we've seen a whole ton of afterwards, but I think it's still a very strong pick out of the jungle. It's still... Evelynn is always powerful as long as she's somewhat viable, just because you're never going to be able to track her very efficiently. It changes the way you have to play on the map. So it adds an extra wrinkle of complexity to the way the enemy has to play.
Yeah. Jinx will not be bad. Maybe grab for this one, I would think. Jinx Thresh, a classic bot lane at this point.
Yeah.
But what is Ryu going to play? Does he dare bring against him?
Yeah, he doesn't have the counter pick opportunity here. Not Faker levels of counter picking where it's champion in the game in mid lane.
Yeah.
But Ryu's going to have to be somewhat conservative here. Twisted Fate is actually a good pick. I feel like it used to be more of a risky matchup. People have started rushing rebound fruits and home guards on him, so it almost gives him the ability to split almost any lane and keep the pressure at least somewhat adequate. So I like that choice.
Also, just great synergy. If we take a look at the side lanes here, there's going to be a follow-up crowd control from Jinx and Thresh. So he's got a lot of opportunity to really just chain the gold card into other forms of CC and pick up those kills. So we could see EasyHoon again play that Rise. We just saw Faker play that matchup, no doubt. They have shared their thoughts on that, even though it was a blind Rise. Obviously, Faker doing quite well in that role.
What about a Victor here?
Yeah, depends how much EasyHoon has. And whenever he's been practicing, it doesn't seem like his favorite champion for the mid lane. That would be Lulu, but of course that's going away. Azir's also been gone.
I mean, he had a lot of really good Cassiopeia. It's been a bit of time since Cassiopeia was...
And will it be Oh boy.
Oh yes, it will. Karthus locked in for EasyHoon. Now this is a champion that we've seen him have very, very strong results on in the past, to say the least.
Wow, I love it. I think it's so interesting to pick this champion right now. Don't follow the Twisted Fate. Just stand in the mid lane, keep on farming, and just use your ult to follow up on that damage. That is a very interesting problem to deal with.
SKT has now brought in 2 unique picks to the mid lane for Worlds. The only people that Rise one of the twice, and EasyHoon's the only card this thus far.
Olaf, checkmate.
three mid lane champions. I was thinking like overall champions.
Oh yeah.
3 and 5 games. SKT has played.
Is exactly what Faker thought when he locked that Olaf, and he was like, oh, counter.
Yeah, well, you know you're in trouble when someone has a counter pick ready.
That's true. Well, you know you're in trouble when you're like picking really blind and your first trouble right there. Well, guys, the Hoon has been unleashed. As the coaches shake hands, the game will get loading, and we are about to move right into it. I'm excited. I'm glad he's getting a chance.
I'm also happy he's on a new champion here for Worlds, so it extends the giant.
It's an old EasyHoon staple, though. EasyHoon historically loves these more zone control mages. I'm excited to see him on it again.
That's right. So be sure to tweet your predictions to @LiveEsports with the hashtag H2KWin or hashtag SKTWin. And who you think is going to take it? Trying to move out onto the rift. And here we go. Our 4th game of the day. here in our second day of the second week of group stages here at Worlds 2015.
I thought their drafts throughout this group stage have all been very good. This is a great pick position. They're trying to dissect Warhawk's lane value. We talked about that. How do they get these leads? Just get the lanes ahead. Odoamne comes up with the counter pick that we saw Marin debut. He has a Twisted Fate to come up there, chain that CC. So I think this is a very intelligent strategy by H2K.
We even heard Crawley talking earlier as the coach and the person who pushed together these drafts for H2K. They even like to play like SKT. They just know that they're not as clean as them at the execution. So it makes sense if the game kind of targeted at the way SKT plays, and it means the first 15 minutes of this game is going to be more important than they normally are in League of Legends.
We talk about, of course, Fate. That's also an easy hood champion, so it could have very easily come in for SK Telecom too. So grabbing it early, Ryu feeling confident as part of the draft.
Definitely. I think you're getting some deep wards down. It's mostly been Mid-lane, Ryu getting caught, gets exhausted, can have to flash right into Bengi for the damage. Bang loading Saman as well. Ryu doesn't get away. First blood goes to Bang, and I can't think of any other word than disaster.
Correct. He had boots as well because he was hoping to have a little bit more mobility in that laning phase to dodge. Really just trying to deny, I think, Karthus taking some small raptors over the wall for a slight experience advantage and giving him assist on his summer spells.
That is
All right, there, just
And that's not what you need on Twisted Fate. To survive the early laning phase, you need to hold that teleport usually to the second Doran's ring or a Doran's ring, or start building up into some items. So now he's just going to fall behind and get pushed in. This is really going to set the tempo on the mid lane in a very big way.
I think so. Wolf and Bang now with a bit of a lead early on. They haven't done that yet, obviously, but it's something that H2K is going to definitely work.
Also, having no flash on Twisted Fate, Karthus can absolutely choose to fall back to his turret. And he's told the flash on Bengi here. There's a lot of kill pressure in the next field, even though he's going both of his summoners.
And I'm actually interested to see the way he plays well. Because if Karthus actually gets the way he plays here his turn, he has tremendous gank assistance because all you have to do is place the wall on Ryu, which has really long range to get the slow 4 and Eve coming in. He still has flash, and they could actually get some pretty kills on that side. Be interesting to see how that plays out.
Really fast, chilling smite onto Bengi with that first recall right at 3 minutes. So we'll be looking for some opportunities to go ahead and farm it out or try and make some plays.
That was another big thing about that level 1. That it gave 4 members of SK Telecom a little bit extra gold in the pocket for the honest.
One thing that we've seen about SK, especially the games against EDG, they take one mistake like that and they turn it into a win. They are absolutely unforgiving. They seem to be prepared for every possible scenario, playing their team compositions very well around these disadvantages. See if they can do the same thing here.
Yeah, and the one lane that is the most uninfluenced by Ryu in the early game was the top lane on Marin, because Marin didn't even pick up an assist despite kind of being down there before. This is actually the spot where the lane wants to be frozen for the gank we just talked about, where Easyhoon would just put the ball down. Who knows its possibility of who that could end up setting up.
Yep.
I think to start getting some information here. Protected that. Get the ward down on the Raptors. Now they know Lulux is coming around. They're going to try and play on this.
Lulux actually doing quite a bit of damage. And here comes Easy. Lulux is scary. There's the flash. Lulux slowed down by the wall. Tries to find a gold card on Easy, but here comes Marin as well. I don't think that's going to get the damage. Oh, and Bengi taken out by Ryu. Although Easy is the answering kill, will keep the kill lead ahead. SKT, that's what I'm saying. They get crazy and Jarnit taking a lot of damage. Really, he actually went back up. He's so brave, dude. SKT. Bang gets the kill, and now Kennedy is in a little bit of trouble too. Exhaust Wolf, unafraid of the thresh. Flash of the brush. He grabs Bang, goes for the flame, doesn't have the cooldown. Casting goes down to Bang with the kill. That's 3 already for him in 5 minutes. It's looking bad for H2K.
It's gone from bad to worse. We said level 1 was disaster. What is much worse? Catastrophe, maybe, in our lives. This game is a bit of a game they were expected to win, and it actually doesn't matter for them as far as advancing. Because regardless of the results here, they still need to beat EDG to move out of this game. So we saw the mid-lane play, the way this bottom lane play begun, was actually kind of encouraging for HTK to get the goal. Garden just wasn't expecting this Q to land. He had heal. When that landed from them, he surprised him with damage. And once that happened, when your AD carry dies with heal still up, you're asking yourselves to get
You can't go going up against a list like that with that low health.
Look at this, he's coming back to the lane too with the dagger already completed, so a huge advantage. And Wolf playing this patiently, and we've got to start thinking about Ryu's goals right now. Now they still can save this game. It's not so far gone yet. It's going to come down to whether they can actually secure kills on sidelines. He's moving around the lane. You can see he's very actively pressuring it. This is where you bottle up that switch.
Yeah, if they could manage to take on that mid lane turret before Ryu is able to get anything done with. Really tough thing for H2K to overcome.
the main way HTK would have any shot back in this game. Which is why the Karthus pick is quite wise. He can keep the wave shot. Easy to punish when Twisted Fate does leave lane. And he can also answer just with his Rec Room once he knows all the threats he can stand in. Basically,
And that's up now, so it's yet another thing that Jarned into the bottom lane really needs to be aware of. I mean, we saw him kind of be in a low health situation before. You can't do that with a level 7.
Make it considerably more challenging. Smart, interestingly, he's playing up the matchup. Both of our top laners double Doran's Blades, not rushing into any of their items. And playing the areas a little bit more defensively this time around.
It's the closest matchup we've seen from Marin against an opponent, is the way Ottawa has been able to play him. This is the counter pick that Marin selected for him essentially earlier on in the week, and I like the way we have played this matchup because he has a lot of tools to get inside the Q range of Darius and take the maximum damage, stun, get his damage out, and then also dice out afterwards. It's a clever pick, and I think Ottawa is playing properly, but with their experience, lane is still somewhat split.
Yeah, even though the slice has a small dash, it's enough to get inside and land that and get that efficient trade.
Right? Even when you have Renekton teleporting in later on, you've got a lot of reasons to not want to be in right?
Absolutely. Very much H2K picked this game before the laning phase. The laning phase falls apart, they're in even more trouble.
Here we go. Lawrence TP is back up. Just a reminder, was down for a little bit, and now Wolf and Bengi just here to zone out the enemy duo lane and try and finish off this
Even
tower.
There it is. Requiem coming in. Teleport coming into that turn. The bot lane as well, too. Wolf gets stopped up for a second. Darden stays alive for the moment. Had to use not to summon a hero quite yet. Bengi getting taken out by Ottawa. Making a big difference so far in this one. Nice explosive cast. Have they separated easy enough? Doesn't look like it. There's a flash. Oh, they're re-engaged. Bang doing enough damage to turn this one around. Nearly he is ready to go. Lulek taking a lot of damage. Doesn't die from the ultimate. Another kill for Bang. And they managed to trade it barely evenly in the end.
And Bang gets double buffs after that. Now, what SK Telecom did, they were overly aggressive on that tower right now. Marin, this was a problem I said early in the tournament, maybe a little bit late on these TPs, but they back them into a choke point where their AoE can be effective, and then that's when the TP comes in. H2K really over pursuing that one, and now Bang is even more of a problem than he was before. He's up 32 CS, 4-0.
You mentioned Bang having more successful games than Faker is not going more team towards that bottom lane. And I do actually have to say that the bottom lane game there by SKT was not very good. I kind of disagree with the Karthus roaming down so early because it's such a phase naturally. You can use your Requiem from lane and then punish when the teleport comes in from the side. Even then, HUK does come in with Ottawamne, Darius was biding his time because SKT probably didn't think they needed him. And at the end of the day, it was a 1-for-1 trade. It's just the leads SKT had beforehand were huge.
Well, chilling smart on Odoame there. Bengi has to flash away as Ryu comes in, gets knocked up. The disengage just for SKT. Lulex pulled into turret range. Wolf is going to push Lulex farther into turret range. 4 damage onto him. Will he survive? Wolf just needs one more hit, basically. Marin flashes in, missed the Q, but got the auto, and there's going to be a pause. Another kill for SKT.
Yeah, I wonder if people are pausing for the Darius interaction there. It is possible to channel your Q. It's a 0.75 second cast time and then flash and have the damage execute.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of players missing that play. I wonder if this is a pause just as a suspected bug to check that out. But
You know, to me,
either way,
it
they
looked
get
like
the
he
kill.
got a little bit too close. Like he had him on the inside range of
Yeah.
the Q, maybe?
It looked to me like it didn't do any damage, so
Yeah, well, the inside ring of the Q,
doesn't do a whole lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Enemies hit by the handle do take 50% damage and do not get a bleed stack. But I've seen that a couple times looking like it doesn't do any damage as well.
Well, we'll see what happens here.
We'll hear what the pause was actually for. I'm purely speculating here.
I mean, in the end, they got the kill. 6-2 right now for SK Telecom, so things still going fairly as well as you can see from the scoreboard down at the bottom.
Yeah, I just received word that it has nothing to do with the Darius. It's actually Ottawamne pausing because he thinks he encountered a bug. He says he stunned Evelyn, but it didn't apply. So they're checking to see if that's the case.
Okay.
It's totally valid for a player to pause whenever they suspect a bug.
Yeah, absolutely, and they should as well, too. I mean, if you have a bug and you don't pause and you get punished for it, kind of ends up being on you in the end, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I see we're back to the wave, the pause wave here in Paris.
The French crowd loves the wave.
Yeah, this could go on for a while. They did this for 5 minutes in the middle of a game. Earlier.
I've said this before, and it's still true in week 2. The enthusiasm of this French crowd is like some of the biggest I think I've ever seen in LoL.
Yeah, a lot of it is obviously the crowd and the culture, but the casters that are able to encourage us, the team that Chips and Wah have put together here for casting, really adds so much energy to this entire venue as well as their own broadcast.
We got to hang out with those guys a little bit last week, and they have a great studio here in Paris and a pretty big following, and for a good reason too. Fantastic casters.
Has the wave stopped already?
No, there it goes. Okay, well,
Please, Jad. They're not going to stop.
come on. Is the moon gone? As long as the moon is around, there will be waves, right? That's science.
Coming back. Time, you want to join in? It's coming our way.
That's on the other side, though. All right.
Yeah, that was
There we go.
that was weak.
Yes, you'll just have to take our word for it.
We did it very enthusiastic.
We're North Americans, so we can't be expected to be quite as enthusiastic.
And I'm from a German community in Wisconsin, so the enthusiasm.
You're stoic.
Man, that's right. Yeah, you know me. Stoic Noah. That's what they call me.
This game in particular, it's especially with this Keiko and Pear-Shake in the top lane for H2K, is getting a little bit worse.
Yeah. I don't know that. Why it works? Pairs are good.
It's usually not considered an attractive look on a woman.
Oh.
Maybe I'm using sometimes I use analogies and I realize long using them.
I don't know.
We're in France, for instance.
Okay.
I did take French classes when I was like 5 and 12. When people would say Levy, I'd be like, I guess Levy is just what you say when things are going the way. Like, Levy. And then I realized it's actually
Spill my Mountain Dew. Oh, Levine. Oh, well.
it's important to research these things.
I think so, too.
Shape for my testing.
You know, usually I can't read the signs because you're...
Hey, somebody's excited about being Canadian. Are you excited about being Canadian?
I'm always excited about being I was born in the USA, but I have dual citizenship. I'm very happy to have it.
Been to a hockey game.
Yeah. I used to film WHL hockey games in my hometown.
Really?
And then I also went to the game when I went to school in Madison.
I used to be involved in the broadcast. My city. What do you know? We're hockey broadcasting buddies. We're You're getting to hear us bond in real time. Well, Well, the pause is still going. Mr. Hoon. I don't know what's going on.
Being very entertaining.
Yep.
We're not going out. This is a nice kill.
See, this is strange.
Conversation.
Well, see, this is what it's like for most the audience that we're speaking to isn't in the same space. We don't really get any feedback.
I think it's a much more relaxing job. You don't need to worry because all these people just sitting there doing this kind of work. But people just get to listen in and see the eventually.
Pretend that the crowd is laughing at all your jokes instead. Makes it a lot easier.
They're like, you're right, we love your jokes, Mike. They're the best.
Even I can admit
You're right. Look into the issue on stage. We're going to send it right over the analyst desk for their take on this game so far.
We do have some time already to separate the information that they have. You see the logs figuring out what needs to be done. Reference to the proposed stun or the supposed stun that did happen. With this time though that we have, I think we should talk about the SKT with a pretty significant advantage. Most of that advantage so far in the game.
From Yarnan was massive, not flashing, not healing. It was rough, that double kill.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it shows like there's a kind of disparity, and we've seen it in the past. Not until you're against a great bottom. The difference between Yarnan and Kasing. Kasing is so much of a presence in that lane. Is him, he gets a lot of out. But they went on Yarnan then, and he backed away very early. Mistimed the flash, mistimed the heal, and Kasing still nearly outplayed by himself. It just wasn't.
You're a veteran of the bottom lane, Tabe. In those scenarios, you know, typically people, say that the support dictates the lane. Your opinion of Kasing and the way that he's played so far this tournament?
How do I pronounce this, AD? I think Hiranan has a huge mistake of not using double summoners when they're engaging with their enemies. But I think even they use the summoners, they still they can't beat Kalista because Jinx and Kalista is always lose. Jinx is only good at late game, and Kalista is super good at early stage. But I think why SKT is leading so much now is because of the huge play of Wolf. He has multi-target pulverize, and he saves the team.
Wolf's been coming up big. There's no doubt about that.
The other thing we're talking about is why do you blind pick Thresh? Like, Kasing is a great Thresh, but Wolf's Alistar, man, is like second to none. He showed it at MSI. He's showing it again this game. He is just able to set up so much, and his knowledge of how much damage he can take with and without ultimate just creates all of these baits. You saw it in the big turret dive down bottom lane. He had his flash still, like just absolutely no hesitation on taking the whole team into that.
It's like what I want to see is more Janna. I want to see Janna blind picks because it's so good against this Braum that everyone's picking, good against Alistar as well. And if people start picking Janna, we might see a Soraka, we might see a Nami, and that's interesting to me. New supports coming in.
I would love to see the kind of the rock, paper, scissors of support and the bot lane come into play. Something else I want to look at is that top lane, though, because the last time we saw the Darius and Renekton matchup, Marn was on the other side of it. He was absolutely throwing the hammer down as Renekton. This time he's playing Darius. He's going even in CS, no problem.
Yeah, and this is something that I like to hear about top laner, is he changes the tempo of top lane without investing in a second lane. And what that does is it actually slows down the Renekton because he can't get the auto attack reset out of that. He can't really do it. He can still win trades, Renekton, but not to the same extent. And Darius gets that a little bit tankier, which means he can live through the lane and still I guess, at least trade effectively. And I think that's really smart from Mario, showing that he knows exactly how to use items to his advantage as well as a way of making it.
But I think because we know that Renekton is a really counterpart Darius, but on the other side, we can see that they have SKT pick Marcus, and Eve is really effective for early threat. Even though he's just ganking. Before Eve is maybe Renekton because he didn't know where is Eve, and then level 6
Can't ever push up the lane because of that inherent.
Lots of early game and global pressure supplied by the Evelyn and the Karthus. So let's move on. Karthus in the lane. SKT's had a lot of the Rise, as Jat mentioned, in the pregame, as well as the Karthus now. Olaf from the mid lane. This is a team that clearly has a lot of tricks up their sleeves.
It's as if they kind of slow him down and then like, crack the ice and then he's back. Comes back with the card as the he's known for, I guess. But I think the card is interesting just because of the point highlighted. But it's also something that I want to touch on, like the matchup Renekton and Darius. I haven't seen a lot of it since the changes, but I think out of this particular game, EDG versus ACT, combined pushing out, lost a lot of CS because of that.
That is a very good point. I just want to quickly remind the viewers at home, the reason we are at the analyst desk right now is because there's a pause on stage due to a supposed bug. Odoamne claiming that he was supposed to have stunned Banky in that engagement. It didn't go off. So again, they're looking into the logs, trying to figure out whether or not any of that actually went through, and if it did not happen, deliberating as to whether or not a remake should be offered. As that happens, we have some time to continue to talk about the game. On the side of H2K, given the way that the game has played out so far, right, they're about 3K, 3.5K down. Pretty significant number at this stage in the game. What is going to be their ticket back into this game, if anything?
I think that's really hard to dictate just because of how far ahead the Kalista is. I would have said that the late game scaling of Jinx once she gets 3 items should be a recipe to be able to do that, and they should be able to funnel the TF into that lane to really help lock that down. The problem is that he's got like Berserker Greaves pickaxe versus a completed Blade of the Ruined King, which just means that trading becomes nearly impossible in that lane. So if they are going to get back into the game, it would be through the late gaming, I guess, team fight that Jinx can bring with all those AoE rockets, but against a Fed Bang, like that is very difficult.
Tall task, to say the least, especially when you have something like a Renekton where you're looking to put the pressure on early, not necessarily to rest on your laurels into the late game. You know, moving away from this game, though, since we have the time, looking at these two teams in the tournament, currently, H2K, there's not a ton of pressure on this game because, as Jat also mentioned, victory here doesn't secure them moving on. The more important game is looking ahead to EDG. So I actually want to take a moment and talk about this team and the preparation that they need to be doing for a matchup against Edward Gaming.
I feel like if we take the game they're currently in, kind of shows that H2K has a very smart draft. I think the TF blind pick into the Evelyn was smart, and it shows that they can adapt. EDG have not shown any kind of signs of adaptation in a pick and ban. They kind of just don't look at the other side of the pick and ban at all and just pick their champions. And I think that is H2K's like kind of key to kind of open up the lock to EDG.
I have to mention that because we have put so much emphasis on the top laner, Amazing J, today, and after the game when BKT and H2K, when H2K wins, I hear that from the interview from Shox that Odoamne said that AJ has a lot of mistakes and it is his job to explode him. That means I think it is really important to when someone says he is very confident in winning the lane. So I think what do you guys think about the matchup against Amazing J and Odoamne?
Yeah, I actually think that that is the case, that Odoamne is going to look to do that. And I think that, once again, SKT have given them some tools. Clearlove is a very good Evelyn player. If that is what is keeping this lane matchup down right now, and they can use that to capitalize and maybe overcommit on Amazing J, there is potential there. But right now, H2K, the strength in the top lane and the disparity in the bottom lane is actually the way that EDG likes to play because of how strong Mako and Deft is. So they need to be very aware of where they are focusing resources because, once again, you can't let AD carries like Deft, like Bane, get these huge leads.
My curiosity would be whether or not H2K adopts a similar style to Bangkok Titans, which is put something hyper-aggressive, put Lulex on Lee Sin, right? We know him as a Lee Sin player. Put him on something aggressive in the early game, as well as laners that have extraordinary gank assistance. Secure yourself a couple early kills in in the first 10 minutes of the game so that you can take over fights when it comes to the Dragon, which is where EDG does fall into large engagements, and they follow through on them entirely, whether or not they're on the losing or winning end of them.
I've said this the whole time. Running gun style League of Legends against Chinese teams is very good because if the game is equal, regardless of team comms, the Chinese teams will fight you. They cannot give up objectives. It's like against their DNA or something. So exactly what we saw in that SKT game where they just went hard commit. They will continue to do that if you pick early game against them.
And also it's kind of perfect because Casting is also known as the Thresh player, and I think he's the kind of guy that can impact the map the same way Moss did in that game. And like speaking of Odoamne, coming into the tournament, I saw him as a weakness. I saw Lulex as a weakness, but I think Odoamne has played in this tournament better than he has all split long. So that is very important to highlight.
Upside for them there, especially considering the meta as of right now.
But other than Amazing J that I mentioned a lot today, I think EDG's bot lane is far better than H2K's bot lane. We can see that just now the bad execution of the ADC Jinx. I think there will be a really hard time for Hyeonan. For Hyeonan to against Deft.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, especially if Deft wants to continue to play these aggressive picks like the Kalista, like Lucian. He has shown that he will play a bully in the bottom lane and not let the other AD carries scale. And it's bit him a couple of times because they have fallen a little bit behind. But if that goes right for you, you just means that you explode through the mid-game team fight much more.
Now, let's return to this game for a brief moment. Going back through the picks and bans, we see, again, a very interesting combination of, well, if Kalista is the one that's getting out of control, is there not a way for H2K to deal with that, given the TF and the Renekton being able to get in, stun up on Kalista and keep her in place, deal enough damage to get her?
I feel like, personally, the matchup, like Jinx Thresh into the Kalista Alistar is just such a polarized matchup that you can't really judge, like, based off of play. While we know Yarnan misplayed in that particular engagement, there was just no way for them to win that fight. I feel like the Jinx was kind of way too confident to pick. Like, you have to keep in mind consistency. Maybe they wanted the lane swap, maybe they had some other idea in mind, but that is like a gamble. And I feel like they should have just went for a safer pick because the Kalista came in early from SKT, and maybe they should have went for the Corki, first Corki of the tournament.
And the other thing you have to remember against Kalista is she has one of the easiest itemizations into third item QSS out of all AD carries because of the double attack speed and lifesteal without having to go into it. And because of the delayed item purchases of the Renekton, he had to go a second Duran's Blade. He's not going to get armor for an extended period of time. So there is a potential for Kalista to itemize much easier towards a QSS before she picks up that last Whisper, and it can set up the team fight in their favor.
Afforded a lot of leniency there. Also, too, if we look at picks and bans, Jat mentioned this as well, or perhaps Monty. They mentioned the fact that SKT has been banning essentially the same 3 champions every single game when they're on red side, which is indicative of the fact that they know that they can outplay a team as long as they remove the power picks from the table. So again, they're not having to show too much. They're not being forced to show too much in that regard, yet they're coming out with these unique champion picks and saying, we've got everything covered. There's, they're looking more and more like a heavy favorite, even though they are not necessarily in the strongest group in terms of depth.
Yeah, my opinion is that SAT have shown one thing in this group stage, and it's that they are currently the best team in the world. Like, it is up to other people to beat SKT. They have given absolutely nothing away at this point.
It's like what I feel if I take a look at SKT, the information they've given us just makes it harder to prepare.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to do about the Renekton Darius? Like, we've seen teams, they just hesitate to pick Darius against SKT. That is just a massive advantage.
He plays Malphite. You can't pick Fiora. There are so many things right now that SKT have just said, we don't care about the meta. We will beat you.
Now, Tabe, when you look at a team like this, we're looking at SKT in their current form, and you as a team are going to have to go up against them in a best-of-5 group stage or bracket stage following this. What would be your approach to a team like this that seems to have so many different formulas for success?
Because just like Yamato just said, it is very hard for us to prepare to against a team with so deep in the championship. We have to do this. We have to play. For example, just like they are mispicking Jinx just now, right? But I certainly think of why they're picking, because they are learning from this game. Flash Roofs have free game of Jinx, Fresh Root. I think simply it's because HTK is. So I think the team that maybe SKT, maybe I would give a vote for because if they are too confident from SKT, they are wrong, and maybe they will.
All right, well, there we go. We're throwing it back to the game right now. We're into it. Take it over, guys.
Thanks. I just want to clear this up real quick. Because I've been talking to production during this whole pause, and the way the ruling happened, we were crashing into the game. What happened was Ottawame went to stun Bengi's effort as Bengi was flashing away. The reason it paused is because it did not stun him after the flash. That is a bug and was confirmed as a bug. However, after the flash, no H2K players were in range to reach Bengi, so referees are not allowing a remake or not offering a remake before it's done because they do not think it had a meaningful impact on the game.
Remix was close, but all his abilities were on cooldown and his flash.
Yeah, we also watched the clip many, many times to try and come to conclusions, and it didn't seem like Bengi was going to die.
Well, yeah, the only other person nearby was Ryu. He was knocked up and still out of range, looking for that glow card anyway. So Bang will take the first dragon of the for SK Telecom as we get back into the action between SKT. Here in our fourth game today.
There we go. Coming out on the side.
A lot of damage here. Could be in trouble. No flash for him. It's very low. Red card thrown out the Wolf. Comes in for a bit of bloodthirsty, so kill stealing. That's all I left.
Full combo, kill him with the Alistair. This is looking like SKT 4,000 club up. We also had a discussion during the pause about whether or not H2K would even want this remake because it's so hard for them to beat SKT. They need to be able to keep their morale high for the next game against EDG. It's going to be an unfortunate thing for them that they have to come back from getting beaten down pretty hard from SKT here against EDG.
And meanwhile, Bengi and Wolf able to get into the enemy jungle now, take care of some wards, throw down some of their own. Don't find that one. Nope, now they do. And this is kind of what I think is a little bit more of an easy unit now. We're going to see maybe a little bit more room for Wolf and Bengi to play a little bit more like score and pick up again at the end of the jungle. Get more vision control than we maybe see prioritize in other games.
The funny thing about this season is doing exceptionally well in lane.
Yeah.
So much less because they summon their spells at level 1. But it's not like he's sitting back.
Could be in trouble. Gold card lands, and I don't think there's any escape for him. Ryu with another kill. Meanwhile, some action down in the bot jungle. SKT steals the red.
And that's the gank that we were talking about to start off this game. That is such a great kill lane for H2K. Already has that Tiamat, a lot of damage coming out, and you can just chain stun into stun very easily. So Marin, I think, playing a little bit disrespectfully right here. We'll see what SKT can get forth. They are going to potentially punish this move. Ryu's right back in the lane, gets that red card. Ottawame turret damage down as well.
Yeah, Ottawame gets a lot of damage done. Everyone turret up in top lane, and he may actually be able to take that out. In fact, I think he will.
It's absolutely huge.
The more ganks like that Ryu can get, the better.
Yeah.
This injection of gold is actually pretty good for H2K in the grand scheme of the game. Despite all the bad things that have happened for them, 3,000 gold in 14 minutes is not easy enough by any means, especially if they can get off good games.
Well, Ryu's stayed relevant. I mean, yeah, he's died 3 times, but he's also gotten 3 kills. He's way down the part of the lane. If he can start making more of these ganks, maybe they could turn it around. It's still a tall order, but they're doing it at this point.
Definitely bouncing back in USS seconds now for Bang. Well, when you get this far ahead, that's a great question. Why not? Okay, well, you can QSS Hook, you can QSS the Renekton Study, you can QSS Gold.
There's a lot of CC to worry about.
And because he has so much more money, it basically doesn't matter. He has the Jinx with a pickaxe and Berserker Greaves.
Go QSS second item under normal circumstances. It's what you see the damage curve of the 180 carry. Kjarnan is sitting at that but the finishes Infinity Edge. Bang will maintain his lead. He has more than a QSS with gold ahead of him, so he still has better offensive capabilities as well as stunned for duration by TF now.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, Bang is about 2 1,000 gold. That's what's making it work.
Well, you get first blood, more kills after that, it helps. Easyun in the mid lane gets played in. Nice explosive cast. Easyun in a lot of trouble. He's going to get taken out easily, and that is another kill for Ryu. The ganks are starting to happen for H2K.
Well, that's what this composition does. They are very good at making picks with this composition. See Marin, he had missing that apprehension.